What's going on, people? Welcome to another In Motion Football live stream. My name is Alam, and today we are going to talk about the NFC South. We're doing this a little earlier than normal. For those of you who have been tapped in during this series, you know that this is the Sunday Night Football stream. However, this is probably the biggest day of the World Cup thus far, and I am going outside to watch the World Cup with some friends. So, had to do this a little earlier than expected. Shout out to everybody in here. Actually, I see my people are here. Shout out to Genwell. This is helpful for me for fantasy. Yeah, man, we're gonna figure this whole football thing out together as a community. I'll be there in a few minutes. Sounds good. Are you asking for the link, or are you asking for the link for Caden? Regardless, I will drop this random promotional comment and this link right now. But that's where we're at, people. For those of you who've been following along with the series over the course of the summer, you know that this is kind of like an in-depth breakdown of where every roster is at, the things we like, the things we don't like, the things we don't understand. Not really too focused on like predicting a record and predicting exactly the outcome of the season, but really just talking through strengths and weaknesses and what are going to be the factors that lead to a good season or not a good season. For Atlanta, a lot of stuff in flux. I know Caden is going to be here, so we're going to probably spend a little bit more time on Atlanta than the other teams because we do have a fan representative of the community that's going to be on the stream. A lot of change. They got Kevin Stefanski as the offensive coordinator. They got, a few new pieces at some key spots. Obviously, as of right now, Michael Penix is listed as the quarterback, but I don't think it's going to play out that way. I kind of do expect Tua to play. We got Kevin Stefanski running the offense, and Kevin Stefanski, I think, is like a figure that a lot of people expect to be bad for Atlanta. I for the bulk of his career in Cleveland, I kind of gave him the benefit of the doubt, considering that he took them to the playoffs and won a game in Pittsburgh. But from like talking to people who are fans of AFC North teams, people seem pretty discouraged about him as a coach and the lead guy running the offense. So when you look at Atlanta's offense, the big changes are the fact that they have 3 new receivers making up their receiving core beside Drake London. Drake London is and still will be the most important part of the receiving core, but you have Jahan Dotson and Lamade Zaccheaus in complementary roles, along with Zachariah Branch, third-round pick rookie. Zachariah Branch is going to be interesting here. That's a bit of a wild card because I think Jahan Dotson and Lamade Zaccheaus are like low-ceiling players. I don't think they're bad, but I think you're talking about players that probably cap out at wide receiver 3s or wide receiver 4s. Zachariah Branch is the only player there with the potential to maybe exceed expectations. But outside of that, it looks like their receiving core is going to be, if you throw the tight end position into this, it's going to be Kyle Pitts, Drake London, and a bunch of role players, which is okay, presuming we get the best version of Kyle Pitts. Obviously, they just handed him a contract extension off the back of, truthfully, some disappointing seasons in a row. So at least that's a glowing endorsement from Stefanski, and I would imagine that he's supposed to have a big part of the offense. I see both of you guys backstage. I'm just going to run through the Falcons stuff, and then I'll drop you guys in. Odd time for a stream, bro. I have to get this stream in before I do the World Cup. Before I go outside and watch the World Cup today, bro. So I have to get this stream in. Normally I do it Sunday nights, but you're right. Definitely odd time for a stream. All things considered, this is a comparable receiving core to what they had in previous years because the main components are Pitts and Drake London. So you could sit here and say that Jahan Dotson, Lamade Zaccheaus, Zachariah Branch are better than the wide receiver 2, 3, and 4 from previous years. But the point is it's still, to me, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th most important weapons in the passing offense. Like this passing attack is still going to go as far as Drake London and Kyle Pitts takes them, assuming the quarterback is functional, which is a separate discussion that we'll have to talk about later. But before we talk about the quarterback, offensive line, and running back, I just want to get the running back stuff out of the way because Bijan Robinson is elite. He's amazing, one of the best backs in football. There's really not much to say there. Brian Robinson, functional backup, so they should be okay at running back. The big thing for me is going to be how does the offensive line hold up with Jawan Taylor at right tackle. So their longtime right tackle, Caleb McGarry, retired, and they signed Jawan Taylor, and they didn't really draft anyone. The other move they made was they traded for Wanye Morris. So it's funny that Sai's here, our Chiefs fan, because the reality is that Atlanta took two of Kansas City's right tackles that both played poorly last year, and those are their two options at right tackle. And this is especially significant because both of their quarterbacks are left-handed quarterbacks, so those are the players on their blind side. I think that this offensive line is still going to function as a good run blocking line because run blocking, I think the dynamics of it are a little bit different, but you can utilize the strength of your players to, I think, have a functional rushing attack. To me, the issue is if whoever is playing quarterback, and I'm not a huge fan of either of these players, if they're playing with a bad blindside blocker, I expect that to be the biggest issue of the passing game. We expect them to we expect Drake London and Kyle Pitts to be good this year because they have to be. But I think that the issue at right tackle combined with the issue at quarterback could kind of stop them from having the best seasons that they could possibly have. Obviously, when it comes to the quarterback situation, I think that Michael Penix is in a rough spot because he's literally not the choice of this regime, so they owe him nothing. This coaching staff and this general manager don't owe him a single thing at all. Tua, if anything, is the player that they chose. So I do expect Tua to be the quarterback of the Falcons this year, and I don't expect that to go well. I think that you've seen Tua's play drop off quite a bit since the 1 year that he popped off in Mike McDaniel's offense. And if anything, I think if you compare it to that team, this team has worse receivers. You could say maybe this team has a better offensive line, but I think they have a worse play caller. And then this team has a better running back. So if you look at the strengths of this team compared to that Miami team being offensive line and running back, again, I think that there is a world where you can imagine this team having a pretty good rushing attack. I just don't see this team having an effective passing game. So if you are interested in the fantasy dynamics of the Atlanta Falcons, Bijan is the guy. And I would feel a little bit skeptical about everyone else. But I have some friends to join me. I got Caden and Jenwell. You guys have particular thoughts on the Falcons offense?
I just want to say that it's currently 3:35 in the morning right now.
It's 3:35 in the morning in Australia? Goddamn.
Yes.
That's crazy.
I'm waiting for the World Cup match. That's why.
So hold on. Are you staying up the whole night, or did you wake up really early?
Yes, I am.
God bless, bro. God bless. This is gonna be amazing.
He's pulling the all-nighter.
Oh, good luck, man.
Yeah, I'm just gonna sleep during the day anyway.
I guess you try to sleep. Try to sleep between the two matches, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the second match is gonna be okay. I can sleep through it, but the first match, I'm gonna.
True. I hear that.
Yes.
Caden, what do we see?
Yeah. I think that our offensive line is a little bit better than last year, or I would say kind of similar. And then I like the pickups with the receivers that we got, like Juwan Dotson, Zachariah Branch, and Zacchaeus. I mean, those are all. I'd say those are pretty okay receivers, but not as good as Drake London. I'd say he's probably gonna win the number one spot as wide receiver. And Kyle Pitts, sure. I mean, Drake London and Kyle Pitts could have a breakout year this year. Same thing with Bijan too. And then it comes down to if it's going to be either Penix or Tua.
Yeah.
I think Tua might start for the first two games, and then if Penix is healthy, he might come back in. But if Penix isn't healthy, then Tua will finish out the season.
Yeah.
And then defense, I'd probably say it's a little bit better since we got James Pierce Jr. back. But we'll have to see how that goes.
No, yeah, that's definitely going to be a decent question mark. Who's the defensive coordinator?
Jeff Ulbrich.
Oh, they got Jeff Ulbrich from
the Jets.
Yeah. Okay.
And then we have who's the offense coordinator again? I forget.
I don't know exactly who it is, but Stefanski's an offensive coach, so he is basically going to be Stefanski's offense. Defensively, I guess like the I do expect them to be better than last year because I mean I think Albrecht is like a good functional defensive coordinator. Obviously, they had Raheem Morris last year.
Yeah,
That was the
that was the
Um,
reason why our offense sucked, is because we had a bad offensive coordinator.
right, and your head coach was a defensive guy, and Raheem Morris is
Yeah.
obviously a strong defensive coach. But Albrecht should be able to do fine. But the reason
Yeah.
I expect them to be better is because the sheer amount of young players that they have that are playing important positions. So like Billy Bowman and Xavier Watts, I expect to be better next year. You look at a guy like Jalen Walker, I expect him to be better next year as well. So there's a lot of growth that'll happen, even though they're putting the same players on the field, just from those players getting better. Not like I think their secondary will be fine. I'm not a huge fan of their inside linebackers, Diablo and Christian Harris. But I think Walker and Pierce, again, if Pierce is on the field, like I think he's going to be good. Obviously, there's question marks surrounding that, and that could have gone really, really poorly. And James Pierce certainly, like, talk about a major fuck up. But yeah, if he's on the field, you got two young pass rushers that are going to produce. Inside of the defensive line, like it's weird. When I look at this team, like the defensive tackle area and inside linebackers, so the two middle parts of the defense, not huge fans of those parts of the team. But again, they have good players everywhere else. And I think that the young players should be better next year, and Albrecht should put them in good situations. So you are talking about a team that you could expect to get better. It's funny. There's a lot of additions that they made that I can speak about as an Eagles fan, because Azeez Ojulari came from the Eagles, Sidney Brown came from the Eagles, Jahan Dotson came from the Eagles. Olamide Zaccheaus was on the Eagles 3 years ago. So there's a lot of these players that I can like talk quite a bit about.
Came from the Super Bowl team.
From experience. Azeez Ojulari was on the team last year. He was better on the Giants before being on the Eagles. Last year, he was a bit of a disappointment. He seems like the kind of player that kind of is a bit of like, he's like a sack chaser. So there's a lot of different ways that defensive ends can impact football games. But he's not quite a player that is like well-rounded. I would say it makes sense that he's a backup. He should be a backup. He ultimately wasn't in the Eagles rotation last year, but Vic Fangio is pretty particular about wanting edge rushers that can defend the run. I think if you let him just be a third down specialist, where you're not asking him to defend the run or really like be disciplined, you're just asking him to go get the quarterback. I think that would be better. Sidney Brown is interesting. He's an athletic freak, but I just don't think he has a good grasp of like how to read the football field and understand the right thing to do. But if the Falcons can just give him, like, the Eagles defense requires safeties to like have a lot of different responsibilities. If the Falcons can give him a more simple job, and I would say if they almost make him like a traditional box safety, as opposed to the Eagles defense, which more so has safeties either playing like deep free safeties or into the slot almost. Neither of those things he's that good at. But if you could have him as a box safety that just comes down and tries to aggressively go at the football, he could play a little bit better. But as a whole, this defense, again, because of their young talent, I expect them to be a little bit better.
I think it's a top 5 defense.
We'll have to see about that, but I do think that there's some reason to be a bit more hopeful. So when I look at all things together, I expect the defense to be a little bit better. And then I expect the offense to be like, well, I mean, last year things were not good.
It was interesting.
Yeah, they were at a weird spot at the quarterback position. I mean, I expect things to be similar. Like their offensive coordinator obviously was not strong at all. There's going to be an upgrade from Stefanski. I still think that the right tackle downgrade is going to have like serious domino effect on like the rest of the offense. And I mean, we'll see if Tua/Penix could be better than Cousins, but I expect this offense to kind of just be similar than last year in terms of their output. But I expect the defense to be a little bit better. So slight upgrade for Atlanta going into next year, I think. All right, we're good to move on to the next team?
Yeah.
All right, so the next team we're going to talk about is the Carolina Panthers, the winners of the division last year. Interesting kind of a space that they're at offensively, because they lost their center to Detroit, but he wasn't particularly great last year anyways. So they got somebody who played, I think this was Luke Fortner was a backup for the Saints. So a bit of a question mark at center, but they had a question mark at center last year. In terms of the rest of their offensive line, you have a lot of good players. The big issue is that Ikwanu here tore his knee up in the wild card game against the Rams, so he's probably going to miss the whole year. Now, in a lot of cases, for a lot of teams, that would be a disaster. But in their case, they actually did a good job giving themselves options because they got Rasheed Walker, the starting linebacker on the Packers, the starting offensive tackle on the Packers last year, and they got Monroe Freeling, first-round pick at offensive tackle as well. So they have two options to play for Ikwanu, and then if he comes back the year after and he's functional, you can let Rasheed Walker go because it was only a one-year deal, and have Monroe Freeling maybe play another position or whatnot. So I think that they've done a good job replacing what they lost on offensive line. At receiver, they have all their three receivers plus Chris Brazell, who I think is going to be a good player. I was a big fan of his at Tennessee, and Tennessee receivers tend to be shaky, but I do think he's going to be the exception. So if you look at what this team is offensively, they're bringing back all their running backs. Jonathan Brooks had missed a lot of time because of injury. They have him coming back as well. So this is an offense that should be better. Again, I do think that they adequately sorted out all their issues on the offensive line relative to what they had last year. And you add Chris Brazell and year two Tedero McMillan. Because, again, comparable to Atlanta's defense, there are some offensive pieces here that you can expect to get better. And Tedero McMillan is like the big one here, right? Obviously, I expect Coker to be better. But ultimately, this all falls on the shoulders of Bryce Young because I don't really think he has an excuse. Like, he has a functional offensive line. He's going to have the best receiving core he's had thus far. The running game, they've always found a way to get production from Chuba Hubbard. So everything falls on the shoulders of Bryce Young. If he plays better than he did last year, then they could be a pretty good offense. If he plays just about as good as he did last year, then it will probably be a little bit better.
And Rico Dowdle's gone, right?
Rico Dowdle is gone, and then the signing they made was AJ Dillon. Now, I don't think that they'll be relying on him because also another player coming from the Eagles, he wasn't that good for us. The players to watch for would be Trevor Etienne, Travis Etienne's brother. I just realized they're in the same division. Who was a rookie last year, so second-year player, and then Jonathan Brooks, player who missed a lot of time to injury. So there's a couple internal solutions for replacing Dowdle's production, but yeah, they still have Chuba. Again, this offense, there's not a major loss that I would say they can't overcome. And they do have potential to get better because of Tedero McMillan getting better. So I expect this to be a better offense. And then I'll quickly do the defense and then we'll get everybody else's thoughts. But defensively, they had an interesting offseason where they made two big additions. And then I don't think they did it. Yeah, nothing else but draft picks. So the two main additions, Devin Lloyd and Jalen Phillips. Jalen Phillips, very good pass rusher who was pretty productive for the Eagles last year. And then Devin Lloyd, I think Jacksonville's best linebacker. I'm not sure, might be off on that, but very productive linebacker from Jacksonville. And then more or less just relying on everything else that they had. So they still have the same defensive coordinator, Edro Evero, who was on the Rams Super Bowl team before getting the job in Carolina. I think their big issue for last year was they didn't have a good edge rush rotation, right? Obviously, the middle of their defensive line is anchored by Derek Brown, who's phenomenal. I think their secondary, they could have stood to make additions to their secondary. The most impactful additions they made were a 4th-round pick and a 5th-round pick, and those aren't the kind of players you can expect to make an impact as rookies. But you got Mike Jackson and JC Horn at corner. I like those two players. Nick Scott and Morig. I like Morig here. Nick Scott. Again, I think they could have stood to upgrade a couple of the spots here in the secondary, but I do think Jalen Phillips is going to help them get better on the offensive line. They're going to definitely hope for internal development from Nick Scourton and Princely Umamalian. I think that's the name. But yeah, they're going to expect some internal growth there from second-year players. But I do think what's up?
Umamalian is ranked 3rd in the PFF. So.
What was he ranked?
3rd edge.
3rd edge in the NFL?
Yeah.
Jeez. Okay. So then Obviously, a productive rookie that they would expect to be better. Jalen Phillips was good from Philadelphia. Like, I say the Panthers defense was fine last year. Like, they weren't a bad defense by any means, but they weren't one of the stronger defenses. And they're really relying on two players to make a difference. And I do think that, again, they will help this team be a little bit better. But the thing about football is tough when you put your eggs in like one or two baskets, is because all it takes is one injury and you basically have the same personnel as last year. So, yeah, I expect the defense to be a bit better, the offense to be a bit better. The Panthers should just be a slightly better football team to last year. General, I'm getting some background noise from you.
What is it? Sorry.
I don't know. It's like a. It's
Say
not.
click.
Was that?
Say click.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just clicking my mouse as well.
Oh, no worries. But yeah, so I expect the Panthers to be a bit better. Caden, what do you think?
I think the Panthers are gonna be similar to last year. I mean, seeing them sweep us last year kind of gives me like some like how I mean, sure Bryce has good games against Atlanta, but I mean it was mainly an offensive battle because the defense didn't really show up, and then Kirk Cousins blew it for us.
Yeah.
Uh, but I mean, as I saw how they were fighting against the Rams in the playoffs game in that wild card round, I think that
Yeah.
it can be kind of a little bit similar, maybe just a tiny bit, little bit better for their signings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see because this team has so much continuity, right? Like offensive coach and defensive coach, they've had them now for a while. And something I talk about a lot is that continuity can be a good thing or a bad thing depending on the context, essentially, right? And I think when you have continuity at the coaching spot, but then you're getting better consistently when it comes to personnel, that's pretty great because the bulk of your team can get like a better and better understanding of systems. And the new players that come in can like increase the ceiling of the team. Again, I think in the Panthers case, they spent on the offensive side of the ball a lot of resources making sure that they didn't take a step back. And then on defense, that's where they made a big effort to take steps forward. I think ultimately, if you want to talk about whether this team is going to be better or not, the key factor is internal growth. Tedero, McMillan, a guy like Monroe Freeling, if he can develop as a rookie, Umamilian at edge rusher, you're talking about looking at young players on your team to take strides, and that's going to be the reason that you're better. So that's, I expect the Panthers to definitely not be any worse than they were last year, but Bryce Young is another name you got to throw in there. They're asking for their players to get better, and we'll see if it happens.
The one team's got one good team.
What's that, General?
Sorry, like obviously, like they re-signed Jalen Kirker to like 3 years, right?
Yeah.
If I'm not wrong.
Yep, they signed Coker.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like they were pretty much. If there was like a definition of a wild card in the NFL,
yeah,
in the history of the NFL, like they would be that, like last year. But I feel like I do still think they will be around that area this year, upcoming like 6 or 7. Like I don't think they're going to win it.
Yeah, see, so if they don't win their division, then somebody has to be better than them, and it's going to be tricky to see who that is. But yeah, it's funny. This division always seems to have this role as like the team providing their division winner, and the division that's providing their division winner, and that's it.
Yeah, and I just like look at it like if I'm looking at the if I'm looking at the NFL NFC, like if we're looking at the the Carolina Panthers, like you have the Seahawks, Bears, Eagles, Panthers, Rams, like they probably I don't know if they go up against maybe the Vikings. Would you say the Vikings?
In terms of like a team that's comparable to how good they are?
Yeah, like in the wild card spot.
I get, the NFC North is tough because I think a lot of the teams are pretty good, but they all have to play each other, so they're gonna have worse records than their ability. So yeah, like I think the Vikings probably that's a comparable
Like
team.
I think right now, like obviously, like even though like we like to shit on the Cowboys, but like they
Mhm.
can be like they can be anything that they want to be like.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
but right now the teams that they're competing with is like sorry the Panthers, the Vikings and the Detroit Lions and the Buccaneers. Like
yeah.
yeah, so
Um, Speaking of one of the teams they might be competing with, we're gonna move on to the New Orleans Saints, which is the third team we're looking at in this division. So this team again, another team that has continuity at the coaching spot. So they have Kellen Moore running their offense and Brandon Staley running their defense. Brandon Staley, somebody who we will always roast as a head coach, but a pretty effective defensive coordinator for a long time in the NFL.
nah,
Uh,
sorry, I can vouch for that. He's a pretty good defensive coach, but a head coach, no chance. Like you
yeah,
can put him in the CFL, you can put him in the European Football League. It's not
Aussie
gonna
rules
work out.
football. Aussie rules football. Yeah, it's not working out.
Yeah, like he's a good assistant coach. That's all.
Exactly. No, he's in the perfect role for himself right now, running a defense. And when you look at the Saints team, I think this is a team that's benefited from the fact that they're not paying a quarterback, and they haven't paid a quarterback in a long time. So they've had the ability to kind of just add to their team. This is a team that really has no excuse to not get better because quality coaching consistency, and the ability to add. Now, obviously, they added more on the offense than anything else, but you got some reinforcements at receiver with Jordan Tyson and Bryce Lance. Fun fact, brother of Trey Lance, current LA Charger. This guy is a deep threat at receiver, so I've read. But yeah, you talk about Jordan Tyson, Chris Olave. That's a solid 1-2 at receiver, and then you potentially have a deep threat in Bryce Lance. This is a serious upgrade at the in terms of their weapons. You look at the offensive line. They're returning all their starters from last year and then adding David Edwards from Buffalo, which was a big free agency signing. So the offensive line is better. Their tight end situation, they got some added depth with Noah Fant. They drafted Oscar Delp. So there's an ability for them to, combine those two players with their starting tight end from last year, Juwan Johnson. Again, that part of their team should be better. At quarterback, the expectation is that Tyler Shuck going into year 2 takes some type of a stride. Like I'd imagine that year 2 in this offense, year 2 in the NFL. If he's not better, then that's a serious issue. And then at running back, they added Travis.
Do you think it's gonna be Tyler Shuck or is it gonna be perhaps Zach Wilson?
I think it would be hilarious if it ends up being Zach Wilson for any
Spencer
reason.
Rattler.
That's injury. No, I think here's the thing. Shuck is definitely the starter.
Yeah.
If Zach Wilson plays, it's because Shuck got hurt. But I guess that's the battle to watch is who's going to win the backup spot between Rattler and Zach Wilson. But just seeing Zach Wilson on a football field is always funny. But yeah, no, they added at running back as well with Travis Etienne. So again, all across the board, this offense is better. And this is kind of similar now. The dynamic between Tyler Shuck and expectations is the same as Bryce Young. Like there's no excuse if this offense is if Tyler Shuck fails. The receivers are fine. The offensive line is fine. As of right now, it looks like they're going to have a 1-2 punch of Etienne and Kamara because Kamara doesn't want to go anywhere else. And he seems to be very willing to be a complimentary back. So if they have a better offensive line than last year and they have a very dominant running game and Tyler Shuck can then use that dominant running game to throw the football against weak defenses because they're focusing on the run, and then he's throwing to Jordan Tyson and Chris Olave, like this offense has a chance to be good. And this is something that came up in passing during one of our streams earlier, but there's a chance that this offense could be the strongest thing in this division because truthfully, like Kellen Moore is good at structuring an offense to produce, right? So obviously he was a part of the Eagles Super Bowl offense, which was very different to anything else he's done. But if you look at his offenses in Dallas and his offense in the Chargers, those were the offenses that got a lot of yards. and he has some very solid personnel here.
Hang on.
Go ahead.
Don't say that we did have a great offense with the Chargers. Like he
What?
fucked us up. Kellen Moore fucked us up.
How did he fuck you up?
He was calling shit. Like
No, that's fine. But did they not get yards? Like, were they?
he was throwing like screens all the time.
Oh, that's not related to what I'm saying, because it's like the Dallas Cowboys fans would say the same thing, but you guys can't say that he didn't have an offense that was producing yards. Like those teams probably should have ran the football more, right? And that's what I think, if anything, probably learned the value of in Philadelphia. And that's where like the development of a coach is relevant, because this guy was pass happy in two.
He probably one thing that I would say, like, I wasn't surprised that Kellen Moore didn't. Sorry. Hang on. Sorry. I'm lagging a bit. Sorry.
Oh, okay, true. But yeah, no, this offense should be better. This offense definitely should be better. And then the question mark is going to be the defense, I think, because the defense, the additions they made, I would say, if anything, are pretty minor. You have two depth guys in free agency, and Tyree Wilson and Martin Emerson. You have two draft picks that are probably not going to start. Christian Miller is realistically the long-term replacement of Davon Godchaux, but I don't think you're going to see a ton from him as a rookie. Lorenzo Styles, who is Sonny Styles' brother, as a safety, but I think Justin Reed and Blackman are going to start as rookies. The main addition is Caden Ellis, funnily enough, who is coming from Atlanta, but before
the enemy team.
But before that, he was on the Saints. So if you look at his career, he went Saints, Falcons, Saints. This man crossed this rivalry twice. Where is it? Look at this: New Orleans, Atlanta, New Orleans. So he cares very little about what fans think of him, because at this point he's probably disliked by both fan bases. So Caden Ellis is there as a 30-year-old player to play in the linebacker. That's their Demario Davis replacement.
You want to know something funny?
Yeah.
About my name? People think that my name is spelled like how Caden Ellis spells his name, but I tell them that it's a C instead of a K.
That makes sense. That's going to help.
I mean, we all know that Caden, you're from Maine and you're part of the Cooper Flag family.
Damn. This man said, Caden, you're not Caden. You are, hold on. You are Jared. He just said you are Jared.
I'm Jared Brown now.
Yeah, you are now Jared Brown. But yeah, no, this defense, like they added,
probably like the one thing that's letting them down, probably the special teams.
So sure, but also this secondary is probably going to be bad because they weren't good last year. This trio of Kool-Aid McKinstry, Quincy Riley, and Jonas Sanker was getting cooked left, right, and center last year. And I think they're gonna get cooked this year. They didn't really improve that part of the team. At edge, I don't think their pass rush was good enough either. It's a pretty old pass rush considering Granderson's going to be 30 this year and Cam Jordan is ancient. But Tyree Wilson, one of the biggest busts in Raiders history, and there's a lot of them there. I don't think that's going to help much at all. Caden Ellis is a Demario Davis replacement, but you're taking a productive player and replacing him with somebody you hope is another productive player. Like, I think this defense, Brandon Staley doesn't have the piece. He doesn't have.
I would say the defense in the like on the front, it's okay, but the secondary, like, it's not great.
No, absolutely. And that's why when I think about this team, I think about a team that could have a good offense and a bad defense. So if you're looking for an entertaining watch as a neutral next year or a fantasy option because their offense is going to have to score a lot given the defense, the Saints are definitely one of those teams. I think that I don't expect this to be a genuinely good team because of their defense. Like, their secondary puts a cap on how good they could possibly be. But I think that maybe in 2 years they could be a good team provided Tyler Shuck is actually good. But yeah, What was I gonna say? I think that like when you talk about this team, is really going to come down to the running game. And that ties into the defense as well, right? Because if they're, let's say, an explosive offense in a traditional Kellen Moore way, where they throw and throw and throw and throw and throw, then they're just going to be a team that gets into shootouts. Like they're going to be like a lesser version of the Bengals, right? Bad defense, shootout, passing offense, and that team usually wins. Like the Bengals themselves would win what, like 10 games, 10, 11 games, and then a lesser version would probably win like 7 or 8. What they need to do is that Kellen Moore needs to harken back to his Philadelphia tenure and run the hell out of the ball, right? Because they need to keep the football, control the game, and keep their defense off the field. That's how they're going to, if they want to actually be a good teammate, there's only one way of that happening. And the one way is Travis Etienne and Alvin Kamara running them to victories. So this is the thing I'm going to watch for when I watch the Saints next year, is that which side of Kellen Moore do we see? Do we see Philadelphia Kellen Moore, or do we see Dallas/Chargers Kellen Moore?
I mean, we don't need to, like, if you're talking about like running it and getting the backs, like getting involved, like we don't need to worry about that, because there's gonna be a lot of screens and they're gonna receive a lot, like Alvin Kamara and Ojik Estienne.
Yeah.
They're gonna receive a lot, but also like I just don't know if the, like, obviously, like the wide receiver room, like they're not great. Like, yes, like Chris Olave, like is there, but given his injury history, like
Yeah.
like I think he got cleared, right? He got cleared.
No, so he played the whole year last year. It was his first healthy year in a long time. It is a good point that you make, though, because with Olave's injury issues, they're concussion issues, and because they're concussion issues, he's always one play from being in a very difficult predicament, right? And the thing about Jordan Tyson is that he's similar, like he has a similar injury history, and not concussions, but just always having some type of an issue. But the thing is, his injury history is the only reason he fell as far as he did in the draft. Like he would have been really, really, really high up in the draft if he was healthy. Jordan Tyson and Chris Olave are really good football players. The issue is that if the Saints don't have them because of injury, then they become a predictable offense. You know they're going to run the ball. Yes, sir, Jez, bro. Early stream because World Cup shit tonight. So this is the one. I think next week I'll be fine. But bro, I'm headed out for Brazil, Norway, and England, Mexico. So had to get this in before then.
Big up, Jess. You just want to say,
fuck Jonathan David. This is facts, bro. This is facts.
Actually, I want to say one more thing. I mean, you might not agree with it, but fuck Alphonso Davis as well. Like,
yo, okay, that one I feel like there's a lot. That one's a lot more debated. Like, fuck Jonathan David is all across the board. The thing with Alphonso Davies is like, bro, if he's actually hurt, not much you can do. If he's not playing for the Bayern, then oh my goodness, that's
But yeah, sorry. I just want to say one thing. Like, I think for let me just see the NFC.
I agree.
Sorry, NFC. Sorry.
Okay.
NFC South. Like, I think it's a matter of time when the Carolina Panthers, the New Orleans Saints, it's a matter of time when they're going to blow it up. It's like they gotta, like, there's plays that they have, like they can get some values in it, like for example, like Cam Jordan and
yeah, I get what you're saying. There's a generation of Saints that they're gonna have to get rid of in terms of Alvin Kamara, Cameron Jordan, who else? Justin Reed, probably Carl Grandison. Like, there's a generation of Saints.
I mean, in a way, no. Sorry,
this is probably
not one fan. Like, he's already gone. Probably Alvin Kamara. In a way, like maybe Kula McKinstry, like if someone's gonna offer like a
Well,
fourth or fifth.
in his case, it's probably because he sucks. But like in
Yeah,
terms of
exactly.
blowing up the end, like the last bit of their like veterans, that makes sense. Brock P fan says Olave and Jordan Tyson are going to end up on IR by week 8. This is the key thing for them because it's like again they're
I
so good.
agree.
And I agree with this Jez
Mhm.
thing here. If he didn't have the Lavia hammies, this like Jordan Tyson and Chris Olave are so good at football, but they're so like injury prone as players.
Mhm.
If they could somehow stay healthy, the way they would have to make you respect the passing game and open up for this offensive line with David Edwards to pave the way for Etienne and Kamara. Like again, there's a chance that this offense could be the most powerful thing in this division. And if that happens, I think they win the division. But if these two receivers get hurt and now defenses can key in on the running game, everything changes. Because again, considering how bad their secondary is, if the defenses can stop their rushing attack, then they're going to lose a lot of games. Like the Saints to me are really like I could see if things break perfectly in this division, them winning like 11 games. But if things break poorly, I could see them winning 4. Like this is probably the team that has the biggest window for me of like how good versus how bad they could be. So um, it'll be very interesting to see how things go with the
Uh,
Saints.
I have them. I have them around 6 games.
Around 6 games.
Yeah.
Look, bro, it's completely possible. Like whatever you guys think they're gonna do, I don't really have a pushback for anyone. Like if you say they're gonna win 10 games, I can envision what would have to happen for that to happen. I'm not mad. If you think they're gonna win 5 games, I can envision how that would happen. I'm not mad. This is one of those teams where I really don't have like pushback for however people feel because there's genuinely a lot of outcomes. But yeah, we're gonna keep it pushing. Move on to the Bucks, the last team in the division. So for
Mhm.
anybody pouring in late to the stream, feel free to check out what we talked about beforehand. A key thing to bring out about the Bucks is that you're looking at a team with no new starters on offense. They do have a new offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
I forget exactly who it was offensive
Yeah.
because they got rid of Grizzard. Okay, they got Zach Robinson. Oh yeah,
Mhm.
Zach Robinson from Atlanta, who
Mhm.
everybody
Mhm.
in Atlanta did not like. Okay,
Yep.
the key thing here is that Zach Robinson is from LA, and he was probably in LA when
They won the Super Bowl.
no, not even that. When Baker Mayfield was in LA. And the reason that's significant
Oh.
is because so was Liam Cohen, right? So I don't know if you guys remember this, but when they had Liam Cohen 2 years ago, the whole thing was we want to get somebody like apparently him and Baker had a really good relationship, and that's why he got the job. So he was there. Baker had a great year with Liam Cohen. Liam Cohen kind of fucked the Bucks over by taking the Jaguars job so late in the cycle that the Bucks couldn't get a proper replacement. So then they had to just promote Grizzard from their coaching staff, and he wasn't ready. So it didn't go well. This year they pulled for Zach Robinson, who again I think was in LA with Baker Mayfield. So it's kind of like going back to the well there. The issue is that I mean
You're right.
we had never seen Liam Cohen in that like role. We have seen Zach Robinson, and I don't think it went well. Now, again, as with anything that happens in Atlanta, you can always ask questions of the quarterback situation. Like, was the offense bad because of Zach Robinson only, or was his life harder because you had a quarterback situation that was always in flux?
It was all Zach Robinson.
See, and this is some of the input you get. So if you look at this Buccaneers team, a lot of our like memories of what this Bucs offense could be is very like rooted in the fact that Liam Cohen had these guys cooking with gas. And you saw what Liam Cohen did in Jacksonville last year. I think Liam Cohen is just a really good offensive coach. So they definitely don't have that. I think there's no chance that Zach Robinson is quietly just this genius. So maybe he'll be okay, but maybe he'll be bad. They're clearly not a big fan of where they're at as an offensive, like as far as their offensive coaching goes. But yeah, their offensive line was really really banged up last year. That's a big story of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They never stayed healthy. This is a good offensive line if healthy, but it didn't happen last year, and that's a hard thing to evaluate because was it bad luck or was it the fact that these players are injury prone? I don't know the Bucks well enough to know myself. If there's a Bucks fan here that could shed light on that, that would be pretty awesome. But yeah, the offensive line, it could be good if healthy. I like the running back combination here. I think Bucky Irving, I'm a fan of, right? But also, if you look at what Kenny Gainwell did in Pittsburgh last year, that's a hell of a 1-2 punch. Even Sean Tucker had a good game last year. Like, they have some good running backs. They have a solid offensive line. If you look at receiver, you can't say that there's not a downgrade because, as Brock says here, Bucks with no Mike Evans. Like, Mike Evans is a good, even in the late stages of his career, still an effective player that you could bank on to do some things well. So ultimately, that's a loss. They drafted Ted Hurst, who, if I'm not mistaken, I think is supposed to, yeah, Ted Hurst, 6'3", almost 200 pounds, probably steps into the role, but like, he's obviously not going to be Mike Evans. Chris Godwin was fresh off a really bad injury last year, so maybe he'll be better. But there is clearly going to be a bit of a downgrade. Also, I think Jalen McMillan missed a lot of time as well. This thing about this Bucs offense is it was so injury prone last year.
Yeah.
So in some ways, Josh Grizzard didn't get a fair shake. But also, like, Zach Robinson, even if they're healthy for Zach Robinson, maybe you don't see the best version of this offense because of the coaching situation. But like, I'm a big fan of Emeka. I think Jalen McMillan is a wide receiver 3.
Emeka
Egbuka, bro. But I think Chris Godwin, like, this is a wild card because of injury.
Now, do you know the Gronk thing?
No.
What he said Emeka Begbu.
Oh, yeah, that sounds like a Gronk thing to do. That doesn't surprise me at all. Godwin, I think, is probably a 2 best case scenario, but he might be a 3 now as well if injuries have taken their toll. But I won't look at this offense and say that this is an offense that has like weaknesses left, right, and center. I could envision, if everybody does their job, like a pretty good offense. The question is going to be is like, what does the coaching look like? So Zach Robinson, you have a task on your hands. The other thing I would say is that, like, I think Zach Robinson, coming from that Sean McVay life, I don't know if that's the kind of offense I would want Baker Mayfield in, because I think Baker Mayfield is one of those players where, like, you want to give him the ability to kind of just do his thing, right? I want Baker Mayfield improvising. If I have Baker Mayfield on the football field, I don't want to give him these rigid rules and a very strict plan to execute. I kind of want him to have some leeway. It'll be interesting if a coach from that kind of a world, especially considering how, if you're a coach and you like Kirk Cousins, you like structure. So to me, like, the biggest thing to watch for with the Bucs, like, the talent on the field is fine provided that it's on the field. The question is definitely going to be coaching, and then if not just coaching quality, the marriage between the quarterback and the coach. Mike Evans, best receiver in football.
That's not true.
Typical Brock P fan.
Julio Jones is the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Yeah.
He's definitely not in the NFL. What is that, General?
That's not true.
Yeah, but this is just typical Brock P analysis, dog. Like, it is what it is. Defensively, okay, they had a really fun offseason. I don't know if this is really going to do it. What I was going to say is I feel like Todd Bowles is the reason why I'm ultimately going to predict that the Bucs don't have that good of a season is because I think Todd Bowles is at the end of his tenure as a coach. Like, this situation just reeks of a team that's supposed to fall apart because it's the coach's time. Like, it just feels that way. When I look at this defense, I feel like this defense hasn't really looked like a Todd Bowles defense in a few years now. And obviously, the average person would tell you that Todd Bowles is a good coach. If the defense isn't good, then it must have been the players. But I get the feeling that, like, I don't think he was getting the most out of the players that they had. And if you look at what they did this offseason, they didn't go ahead and get a shit ton of talent. But they got just like solid football players. So when I look at this defense, I still see a defense without like serious talent outside of 2 spots. Vita Vea is a very great football player, and so is Antoine Winfield Jr. Outside of that, I think you're looking at a defense full of like just solid, steady players. The exception being maybe Ruben Bain Jr., but that's a question mark too. Like, he's a rookie, and I'm not going to just say that he'll take the NFL by storm and be amazing immediately. But no, I mean, like, I don't know if Todd Bowles has been cooking the same as of late. I don't think this talent is really all that good. The funnest part about this team is the fact that they have Ruben Bain and Keontae Scott. They have 2 pieces from the University of Miami last year. But no, I expect this defense to kind of just be average or okay. Like, I don't expect this to be a defense that teams fear and teams like are scared of playing. So that's
I
kind of my
think
outlook on this team.
it's gonna be a, let's just say in simple ways, like it's gonna be a team like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Like it's gonna be a team that's gonna probably going to win the division. Like
Ooh, interesting.
yeah, I mean, unless you have any other thing to say about that. Do you
I
want
just
to?
I don't know, bro. I just think Todd Bowles is he's meant to be fired at the end of the year. Now, for what it's worth, I said that about two people last year. I said Miami and Indy, they reeked of situations
Yeah,
with the guys.
so, like I mean, like you do think the Buccaneers are gonna win this division, right? Or
No.
not? Okay, no. So what do you think?
I think that this team is gonna be like an 8 or 9 win team, and I think somebody is gonna win 10 games.
Okay, okay.
So this is my thing. I don't think there's going to be like a great team. If I were to say it right now, I would say that I'm guessing somewhere like it's going to be either Carolina or New Orleans, in my opinion. Again, and the New Orleans thing is just about like, are they a dominant rushing team? Because if they're not, I take them away immediately, and it's just Carolina for me. But if they're a dominant rushing team, then they're in the conversation for me. But right now, I would lean Carolina just because, like again, I I I just think the coaching on both sides of the ball could let this roster down. And even when you look at the roster in and of itself, I don't think the Buccaneers defensive team is like amazing or anything. So I just feel like Todd Bowles is supposed to get fired. So I think they're going to miss the playoffs somehow. And, they might be a really good team in 2 years. Forgot to talk about, is he bad? Chase Lucas? I imagine he is if you're talking like this. I didn't know anything about him. So that's where we're at with the 4 teams. To quickly wrap things up, we'll go through the division and quickly predict what happens. We'll start with the Falcons because Caden is here. Okay, Caden, what do we
Fuck
think?
the Falcons.
Okay, so we picked the
Steelers.
Steelers win,
Yeah.
and then I think we'll beat the Panthers.
Okay, just out of curiosity, how do you think they fare in the season against the Panthers? Do you think that's a split? Do you think that the one team sweeps
Split.
the other?
I think they're gonna split with every team in the division.
Okay, I don't even hate that. I don't even hate
Yeah.
that at all. So we'll just pick all the home games in the divisional games. Where are they? Okay.
Yeah. And
All right.
then a
Packers
loss
Thursday
again
night
there.
football.
Yeah.
Probably Packers, yeah.
Yeah, Packers, Ravens will beat us.
Probably Ravens.
Okay.
And then I have us a win over the Bears, just a random.
Oh, hell
win.
yeah.
Okay.
Let's go.
Yeah. And then the 49ers beating us.
Hold on.
Yeah.
If you just look at this so far, like us giving them a win against the Bears, I feel like it's definitely
good, 'cause-
possible that they lose. No, that's gracious, right? But if
I
we
mean-
if we flip that result, bro, this team is 1-7 after 8 weeks.
Yeah, actually, like
Yeah.
I would probably say the best over the Niners.
Like in terms of beating this team?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, we'll keep that in mind. Those two, like, regardless, I think giving them one win here,
Yeah,
just
exactly.
considering that
Yes.
they're underperforming so bad, is fair, right? Then they play the Bengals
I have us
in
beating the Bengals.
the
Yeah.
Bernabeu. Okay, hold on. If you had the Bengals in week 2, I would hear it because the Bengals suck at the beginning of the year. Oh,
This,
mid-season
this is one thing. This is the one thing I would say. By then, I think Bo is going to get injured.
bro, some like this schedule looks brutal, dude. Okay, let's just give them this win out of graciousness, right?
Yeah.
Lost to this team, right? Then okay, we'll give them the win against the Browns. I would have the Lions beating them.
Yeah.
What about the Vikings game?
Hold on. We have the Falcons going on a winning streak down the stretch here. Hell yeah.
What about the Vikings game? Oh, yeah, the
Vikings
Vikings
game?
beat us.
I'd give the Vikings the win there. I think they're a bit better of a football team. We got them 7 wins because of the winning streak at the end. So basically, that's 3 divisional wins. Then we got them beating.
I have them beating the Vikings though.
We have them beating the Browns and the Commanders, 3 games in their division, and then we have them getting basically gracious wins against the Bengals and. Who did we have them beating here? Oh, the Bears.
The Bears.
You know what? If they have 7 wins, I'm giving the Bengals this win. So 6-11. That's what we're rolling with. So that's the Falcons. Brock Beef says Panthers 9-8, Bucks 9-8, Saints 5-12, Falcons 3-14. Jeez, 3-14. Okay. Let's look at the next team. Okay, we just did the Falcons, so we may as well do the Saints now. So the Saints, this is a rough start to the season. Let's go Lions, Ravens.
Is Brock a Saints fan? No.
No, he is a Brock Purdy fan. I think we definitely have to hold on. Have you seen his icon? Look at his icon.
Is this Brock Purdy?
This is Brock Purdy holding a Super Bowl. It's an AI generated.
No. Because remember we had like a Brock Purdy fan last week.
This is him. This is him. He's back.
Oh my god.
Yeah, this is Brock Purdy fan. This is we've bro has been in the community for a long time.
Mm-hmm. I've been here since Thanksgiving.
Hell yeah. Okay. Saints against the Steelers. I kind of want to give that to the Saints and this one. And then I'm down to have them split the divisional games just like we did for the other matchups. But I have them beating the Cardinals. We'll say they lose to the Packers and the Bengals, and fuck it, even the Bears. What does this have them at? This has them at 7-10. Interesting. But yeah, this schedule, there's tough teams here.
Can I ask you one thing?
Yeah.
Can you do a quick NFC ladder predictor? No.
A what predictor?
Ladder.
Ladder, or like ranking all of them?
Yeah.
Well, we'll do that at some point. I think after we finish the divisional preview series, like during training camp, we'll definitely get into that type of stuff. But
can I say something about the Falcons schedule real quick?
Go ahead.
I think that if we have the Saints going 7-10, I think the Falcons could also go 7-10. I think it's just that Vikings game.
We're only one game off. It's definitely possible.
Because I still think like 8 wins is gonna be enough for them to get like a wild card.
8 wins is gonna be enough. 8 or 9 wins is gonna be enough for them to win the division. Then, for any team.
In this case, right? Like, we have the divisional split. Also, I hear my voice in someone's background. We have the divisional split, right? Beating the Cardinals is super reasonable. Losing to the Packers and Bengals is super reasonable. But also, like, these aren't like godly teams. Like, a win could happen here. Bears loss is fair. Beating the Browns and Steelers is fair. Losing to the Giants is kind of crazy. I don't know if I would take that in hindsight, but fair. Like, bad losses have to happen. Losing to the Vikings, that game is flippable. Like, the route to a better record is there, but I think it's fine to say as of now, without knowing for sure that they're going to be a good rushing team, it's fair to just go with 7-10. Okay, then we'll go to the Bucks next. Bucks early season Bengals, they get the W. They beat the Browns, and then I think they lose to the Packers. I think they beat the Steelers. We'll give them the split against the Panthers. I think they lose to the Bears and the Lions. Chargers, Ravens. Chargers, Ravens. General, how do you think the Chargers would fare against the Bucks? I think that here's the thing. Personally, I think the Chargers and the Ravens both get W's here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, and then
the Rams.
Rams, Jesus, bro, 7-10. Holy shit, we have a division of 7-10 teams.
Well, you put the Falcons at 6-11, but
that's true. They could very easily be 7-10.
We can just say that the NFC South for a long time has been pretty crap.
Okay, Bears against Panthers. This is a battle of back-to-back number 1 overall picks.
Oh shit.
Oh man, I will too.
Give it the Bears.
Okay, we're going Bears. Then we'll go this team over the Browns. I think the Panthers could beat the Lions at home. But then if they beat the Lions, I think it's fair to have them losing against the Packers
and the Broncos.
I got the Broncos and the Ravens. Oh Lord! End of season Bengals get that W. I think the Steelers aren't all that. I think they could beat the Steelers, but they're losing against Seattle. No way. 7-10. Holy shit.
And then wait, hold on. I just want to see. Can you put that Vikings game to see what happens if we won that game? See how the standings would look.
This is wild. Because I'm not even trying. I'm not even.
Oh, we would be in third place.
Okay, I'm gonna go back and flip that. But yeah, okay. Obviously, it's not going to play out this way. I just think that if anything, what this is a representation of is just the fact that I think this is the weakest division in like this is the weakest division of all the divisions they play.
I think
They,
it's the
bro,
weakest division in a long time.
bro, think about it. They play the whole fucking. They play the. I think they play, bro. They play the both the Norths because
Yeah.
they play both the Norths. These are some tough teams, dog. Baltimore's gonna be good, right? The thing about these AFC North teams is if you get them at the wrong time, especially for these climates, bro. If you're a team that's going from Florida, Georgia, or Louisiana into the fucking Ohio brutal December weather, like it's gonna be hard to win a game. And then they played this division, probably the best division in football. So this division, again, these teams are going to have bad records for that reason. But this is kind of the story of this division. But
I can't wait to play the AFC South.
It'll happen one day, bro. It'll happen for you one day. But yeah, people, that's
Next
where
year.
we're gonna end the stream here because I got an hour and a half to get downtown to be in front of a TV for Brazil against
Yeah,
Norway.
hang on.
Hold
Are you
on,
gonna
hold
be
on.
on television?
What this is gonna be this goal?
Hold on, real quick, bro. Brock P fan, bro. You guys have the Arizona Cardinals. That is a serious issue in this conversation. You guys have the Arizona Cardinals. Do you know how bad they are? But yeah, okay.
The North is better.
What were you guys saying?
No, sorry, you go first, Jared. Not Jared, Kaden.
Yeah, my name's Jared now. You're gonna be on television?
Am I gonna be on television? No, bro. I'm just gonna be
No,
watching the game.
he's not gonna.
Oh,
No. I said, who do you think is gonna win?
Oh, I think Brazil and Mexico get it done today.
2-1.
I agree.
I think Brazil is 2-2 pens. I think Mexico is 2-1 regular time.
Did you see what the Mexican fans did to the England?
Yes, they threw a whole festival. Bro. Respect. I love that shit.
Oh my god! How long does it take you to get to downtown?
If the traffic conditions are favorable, 40 minutes. If not, it can take up to like an hour and a half.
Actually, it's like obviously like in here because obviously like it's not Australia and that, but
I gotta head out.
When we
so
stay
I'll see you guys
downtown,
later.
like yeah,
See you, kid.
like when we stay downtown, like we can like walk it, but how long does it take you, like
To do what? To walk?
like to walk? Yeah,
Oh, like you walk within downtown?
yeah.
Well, okay. So for example, I'm going to like it's not really walkable to go from like the end of the main part of downtown to the other end. Like it would probably take a couple hours. It's probably a couple hours of walking. Like for example, if you're talking about like the relevant part, like because the downtown core is obviously a small core, but then there's some of the west that's like still good, and then there's some of the right. So the distance would be big. But like in terms of the main downtown, but the subway and streetcar and bus system is really good. But yeah, no, you can get around fairly easily because of that. But the walk would be a little bit much. But like for example, bro, like I watched the England match in the east side of the city against I think what was their last game against Panama.
Congo.
Oh no, you're right. No, hold on, that wasn't the one. I watched England, Panama in the east side of the city, and then I was trying to catch Portugal, Colombia, and I was walking to the what, like somewhere in the west, and that walk was roughly 45 minutes, and that wasn't even the biggest walk I could have taken. But yeah, I probably should have taken a streetcar. That being said, people, we're gonna end the stream here because I do have to get out. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. I'll be back Sunday next week at our normal schedule, so around 8:30. We'll get to it.
Would that be before the summer league game? No.
The what league? The summer league game? I'm not sure the summer league schedule, but once it comes out, I'll make a post if it gets moved. I probably should have made a post about this stream, but yeah, the next week is the AFC West, people. So there's 2 weeks left, 2 divisions left. So AFC West and then the NFC West the week before that. So General, your team next week, and then Brock's team the week after. So see you guys. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. We're out.